Hello and welcome to Street Signs. I'm Erin Burnett. Here is your Tuesday rundown. The secret is out. Apple CEO Steve Jobs moments ago unveiling his newest products. We have the first pictures and instant analysis for you. Then Bedlam at Bristol Myers and a gentle heave-ho at Hewlett. Big changes for two corporate titans today. We are going to tackle what is next for each this hour. And then what goes up must come down. That appears to be the story with energy prices, but there is fierce disagreement. One analyst on the record saying oil is heading back to $75 a barrel, and soon we will find out why. Well, now let's talk about those newest products from Apple. We're hearing right now Steve Jobs is demonstrating what could truly be a game changer for the media industry. It's called iTV. It is scheduled for release in the first quarter of 2007. And our Jim Goldman is saying that basically this is a wireless receiver, not even designed necessarily to go with the Mac, going to be able to import content directly to your television screen. Steve Jobs talking about that right now, and also talking about movies, and that movies will be available on iTunes. Movies from Pixar and from Disney, as well as from Touchstone. Obviously, much of that coming from the relationship with Steve Jobs being on the Disney board. Now, let's get to these pictures that we have for you. Those pictures that I was just talking about, movies and iTV, we're going to get them to you in a moment. Right now, though, let's show you games. We are hearing another thing that Apple was rolling out was games for the iPod. We've got pictures of that for you, and right now you're looking at the new Nano iPod. This is going to have an extended battery life than the current Nano, which is available, and he is demonstrating that as well, and also a new Shuffle. And the latest on this is its matchbook size. You just saw him holding it up a moment ago, and they say this is going to be retailing for about $79, available in October. So we had a lot of announcements from Apple. So let's talk to two people who know the company extremely well to find out the instant analysis. Dan Sokol is with Envisioneering. He was in the room today for the Steve Jobs presentation. Also with us, Brian Clark of techenthusiast.net. So thanks so much for joining us. Dan, let us begin with you. I just went through a long list of things here. What was your first reaction in the room to the announcement?
Well, there was a lot of applause when Steve announced the prices of the updated iPods. I was somewhat surprised. They've updated the standard size iPod to 80 gigabytes for what was it, 200 and something. It was very, very pretty. I like the games too. I'm sort of a gamer, and I'm looking forward to trying out some of the games. The Shuffle, of course, it's about the size of a postage stamp. I got to have one of those. That's a definitely must-have.
I know matchbox size might have been a little bit of an exaggeration. Brian, in your view, we got games, we've got developments with the Nano, we've got a new Shuffle, we've got iTV, and we've got movies. Any of these a game changer?
I don't think there's specifically game changers there. I do think that it's kind of leading in the right direction. I think Apple is going to lead the market. Microsoft has been trying to head this way, getting into the living room for a very long time now with Media Center. And I think Apple is now that they've really thrown their hat in the ring, is going to start steering things in that direction.
What do you think, though, Dan, when we hear about this iTV? Jim Goldman, I'm just looking at the email he had sent describing his feeling being in the room. He said the resolution appears to be superb, basically wirelessly transmitting video directly to your television wirelessly. And he said that this is something many people have tried to do and unsuccessfully so far. If Apple can do this and do it successfully, how significant is it?
It's significant in that nobody has done it successfully. It's a ways away, you know, where it's half a year away at least. It's one of those time will tell kind of things. It will be really nice to be able to download a movie and watch it on your TV set in the living room with the family, as opposed to trying to watch it with more than one person in front of a computer screen. Whether they can pull it off, time will tell. It's Apple. They're very good at doing this sort of thing. So I suspect that it will be functional. I just don't know what the price points are going to be. I don't know how the consumer will adopt it.
Brian, we had heard before that what we needed to hear out of Apple today was developments and improvements to the iPod. And what we're getting is not just the matchbox size Nano, but longer battery life, brighter screen. Does this address what Apple needed to address? And in a market where, yes, it is the dominant player, but it is certainly not the only player anymore.
I think, you know, adding color to something like the iPod, they were enormously successful with the iPod that was out before the Nano with the colors, and bringing that back to the Nano does give them another leg into the market. It gives them people another reason to buy them. Anytime they can continue refreshing these products, it gives people a reason to buy them, people a reason to get another iPod. I really do like the little one, the Matchbox size iPod. I find those things really great, especially if you have kids, because they can take so much abuse. And the fact that it's $79 is really appealing to me.
Dan, when we're talking about the movies here, this is certainly what everyone had expected, that we could get movies available. Now, when they announced this, they said Disney, Pixar, and Touchstone, all of this is part of Disney. A lot of analysts I've spoken to over the past couple days said they thought that there might be another major studio involved. Is it at all a disappointment that that's not the case, at least today?
Not a disappointment. I think that, like everything Apple has done with iTunes, it's going to start out and it's going to be more successful. And, you know, there's nothing brings the other studios to the table faster than money. I think when Apple announces their first sales figures, that everybody else will be lined up. I know that there's a lot of pressure on the outside from companies like Walmart to delay that because they want to make sure that there's not a big price differential. I think the big surprise today was the announcement that the movies on the iTunes store will be available at the same time that the DVD is released. I think that is a major change in the way that content has been distributed, and I think that may have the biggest impact on the sales of DVD.
That's a fascinating point. And Brian, what about the pricing here? $9.99 a movie is what Apple is saying this will cost. How do you feel about that price point?
You know, it's very comparable to what Amazon is offering, so I think that's a really good price point. And then the $9.99 is just like the $1.99 or the 99-cent songs. I really do believe that they're making a very good move, and people are comfortable with the iTunes interface, and so the idea that they can move that into their living room and watch these movies on their television, that's a huge plus. They increase the resolution on these things so that it's near CD or DVD quality. I think that they're really on the right track here.
All right, Brian and Dan, thanks so much for joining us as your instant analysis on those Apple headlines. We were showing you those first pictures there.